Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our morning Kickstart. My name's Walther.
And I'm Brad Neufeld.
No, we're just the two of us, so we've got to kind of split up our duties a little bit. I'm going to be doing the positive quote. Brad's going to be doing his resilience tip, and then we'll have a fun fact that we'll share throughout the rest of the week. So
you got us guys. This is guys week, right, Jay? Well, actually, Tamara was on yesterday, but the rest of the week will be guys week. All right.
So my quote today is from Simon Sinek. Life changes for the better when we realize that we don't know. Well, let's try that again. Life changes for the better when we realize that we don't know everything and we don't have to pretend that we do. Now that's great to me because there's so many people that try and make you think that they know everything. Oh, I've got the answer to everything and I'm smartest man in the room.
Right.
And I just, you know what? It's okay not to know. It's okay to say, you know what? I don't know.
Yeah. And that's something I had to learn when public speaking, Jay, because I tried that being trying to be the expert up there in front of people. And many times I'd get called on stuff after the fact, and I'd realize, oh my gosh, I got to stop making stuff up. I mean, there's a funny saying in the speakers world that 67% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
That's right.
Yeah. So
they absolutely are.
So it was. I love the quote because it's true. With the day that I finally started telling myself and telling my audience, you know what? I do not know that question. I do not know the answer to that question, rather. However, I will find it out. That's one thing I can do. I do know where I can find experts, and I'm going to go to them, and I'm going to find out if this is what the real answer is, and I'll get back with you. And I found a lot of success with that, and I found that people actually appreciated that about me. So, is you can't be all things to all people. That's the one thing that we got to understand.
That's right. So, you only know what you know.
That's right. So with our tip for the day, as I said, this week's going to be all about learning. And I want to start it out by saying we all have a great desire to learn. Now that we've had the quote that we've had, it's kind of interesting, but I want to put a little bit of spin on it. The way our world is right now, things are changing so rapidly. It's almost that we're forced to learn to keep up with everything. Yeah. Because life was pretty simple back in the the 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, they had the railroads, they had the steel industries, they had the mining industries, the copper industry here in Utah especially, and everybody thought, this is it, I'm going to be doing this the rest of my life. I am set. I work this job, going to get me a pension right off into the sunset, and everything's great. Well, yeah, that's how it was for the longest time, but it's just like technology. Here's a fact, something that you fall in love with right now, or a new product you get and you think, this is it, wow, this is revolutionary. That product's not going to be around in 5 years, or it'll be totally different than it is right now. I mean, just look at how many changes in the iPhone there's been, and that why they come out with a new one every year or every other year or whatever the heck it is. But we're just in the way our society is, and the way the evolution of our economy and everything else, things are changing rapidly, and it can overwhelm people to the point where they just give up. They just say, that's it, I just can't keep up with all this stuff. However, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid to learn about new things that are up and coming. And I want to challenge everybody out there to take the opportunities to learn from everything that occurs during your day. Again, there's so much out there that you get to pick and choose now too. That's the other thing. So pick something that you really, really like and become the expert in that subject. And this is what I found to try to get rid of this trying to be all things to all people. Start with, who am I? What do I like to do? What are my passions? What are my skills? And then focus on that and become the absolute best at that very thing. Because that's another thing with our world right now. Everybody's looking for experts.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for people who know what they know, and they're willing to pay for it, pay for that service. And so just keep that in mind as you're going along throughout your life. Don't be afraid of learning, but with everything, with all the information out there, you don't have to know it all. Just get really good at the thing that you're passionate about, because we do all have that desire to learn. We have that curiosity in us. We see that from from the time we're a child. Children are very curious, and we continue to have that throughout our lives. So again, just go with it. Have some fun.
All right. Well, today's fun fact. Today, March 16th, is National Panda Day. It draws attention to one of the world's unique bears. Pandas are one of the world's most endangered and adored animals, with their white face and black eyes and body. However, despite their sweet disposition, they tend to isolate themselves in the wild. Native to China, giant pandas are members of the bear family, but they eat mostly plants. Their rapidly shrinking habitat is a major cause for concern. Successful panda breeding programs are rare. In the wild, there are approximately only 1,864 pandas, 100 living in zoos around the world. So show the panda some love today by sharing a meme or donating to a zoo. So pandas are favorite cuddly bear. They eat bamboo leaves and show some love to a panda today.
Yeah, and look at all the movies that are made with bears, and especially the panda, panda bear, Kung Fu Panda, right? Well, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I kind of look like a panda. I'm just not as furry.
Well, man, I'm glad I heard that. Oh yeah. I just hadn't ever heard that there was so few.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary. They're on the endangered list, but wow, they need to. Somebody's got to figure that out so we can keep them around, because that's definitely a loved bear. And I know we have a lot of panda toy bears in our family. So all right. Well, let me throw this out there, because like we started yesterday with Tamara introducing all of the show hosts that are on our station on the Resilience Talk Network. We want to continue that this week. And so what we've done is, immediately when Jay and I are done with this segment here, we'll start up a video with several of our, every day this week, we'll have one of our show hosts. Like this week, we're going to today, we'll get this right. Today, we're going to sponsor Cevin Ormond. And if you don't know who Cevin is an author, and he's also a great public speaker. He's been around or out there in the community for quite a while, but he talks all about leadership. Leadership in the 21st century is his theme. And his podcast airs every Saturday and Sunday. You'll be able to hear that. He just really has a good take on the world and how to take and he focuses on interviewing people who are in great leadership positions, so you can learn what you got to do to be able to lead, if that's something that you desire to do. So we're going to talk about him a little bit today, right after we get done with closing everything out. So go ahead, Jay, close us out here.
All right. Well, we appreciate you listening to us every morning. We hope you're getting something out of these fun little videos that we've been doing. It's a pleasure for us to do them. We really enjoy doing the research and finding out these interesting facts. So if you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe right down below us here. We're on YouTube. We're on, you can see the website behind us, Resilience Talk Network. Go there and you can listen to these live radio shows like Kevin's, like mine, like Brad's. Every day we're on the radio 24/7, and we'd love for you to be there. We'd love for you to subscribe and to like what you hear, comment, let us know what you think. And we'd just love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Resilience Talk Network. I'm Brad Neufeld, and our guest today is Mr. the one, the only Cevin Ormond. The purpose of this particular segment here that we're showing here is to introduce you to all of our show hosts, and you'll be seeing them over the next couple of weeks here. Cevin is the man with, well, his show is called Cevin. Here we go, Cevin. I'm going to have you say your show number. Man, I'm really tongue twisted today.
It's called Conversations with Cevin with a C, because my name is spelled with a C. C,
yeah, I like that.
As opposed to the K that all those people who spell it wrong do. In fact, Kevin Sorbo's wife, Sam, interviewed me on her radio show.
Uh-huh.
And when I was being interviewed by Sam, she brought it up. Yours is spelled with a C, and of course my husband's with a K. I said, I can't help it, Sam, that that Kevin's mother can't spell.
Right.
And she says, you did not go there. I says, yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Oh, that's too funny. But
Kevin, it's totally true too.
Friends for a long time, and I'm so glad to have you on the station. You definitely have a message out there for everyone, especially for people who care about our country and the direction it's going. But your show, Conversations with Kevin, also the subtitle to that is Leadership Principles for the 21st Century. Now, Kevin, just so you know, audience, is author of 6 books. He's got some
all leadership related books, by the way.
Absolutely. And so I've read a couple of them, and you've got some great writings here. And you're a great person to have here on the station, Kevin, because you bring a lot to the table. But tell us a little bit about your podcast. What is it all about?
Well, there's a couple of things about the podcast and the way I do them. First of all, I'm not a big fan of BS. I'm not a big fan of smoke and mirrors. And I'm also not politically correct because of the fact that first of all, how dare they call anything political that I didn't get a chance to vote on, right?
Right.
That's wrong. And secondly, George Orwell called it newspeak. It's the same thing, and I'm not a big fan of that. So the bottom line to that is I'm going to tell you from my perspective exactly how it is. And I'm not going to pull the punches. I try to keep the 4-letter words to a minimum.
You do a good job of it. Now, your guests from time to time, who knows?
Yeah, well, what do you do? But at the end of the day, the thing that's lacking in this world is leadership. It is the rarest of all the skill sets, and everybody thinks it's so cake and so easy. It is not. Leadership. I'm Kevin with a C, and so I talk about the 3 C's of leadership, and they are in order: character, conduct, and charisma. And the character is number 1. It is the hardest to develop, and it's the least visible. The conduct is more visible, but it flows out of the character. And the charisma is trainable. You can make somebody appear very charismatic, and they can still be bankrupt as far as their character. Or, for example, the greatest public speaker probably that we've seen in the modern era is Adolf Hitler. Totally bankrupt character. But you look at the YouTube, there's 1 million people screaming. He just got them going and charismatic to the max, but morally, character, totally bankrupt.
Right.
70 million people died because of that sucker. And so basically, the character is the number 1. I talk a lot about those issues, but the leadership in general is the rarest of all the skill sets because it requires you to change you if you're going to be the leader. And you got to look yourself in the eye and be honest. And that's tough to do sometimes, to say, hey, and especially, if you're believing your own press clippings or whatever else, which you never want to do. And so it's we talk a lot about those kinds of things and how those character things happen. I did something with my first book that I've never seen done, or not my first book, my most recent book, The Constitution of a Great Leader. And I did something with that book that I've never seen done before. You see, I've seen a lot of books that took a look at the Constitution, analyzed it from a leadership perspective, or not from a leadership perspective. That's what I did, but from a historical perspective or a legal perspective. And I've never seen anybody do it from a leadership perspective. So I did one. And it's called The Constitution of a Great Leader. It's on Amazon. But basically, the bottom line to that is that I pulled out a bunch of principles that are leadership principles that this isn't new information necessarily, except that nobody knows it. So you got to relearn it every generation. Ronald Reagan talked about the fact that patriotism and character and Americanism and all those things aren't transmitted biologically through the blood. They have to be relearned by every generation. And so that's what we're really doing is we're teaching these principles that are timeless and then helping to see how it applies so that you can say, oh, I can do that. or it applies here for me, or it applies there for me. That's what I convey with this podcast is not only what those things are, what the benefits are, but how then you can incorporate them into your own life and your own leadership and so on. Everybody's a leader at some level. And so
and
whether
the
you want to
guests
be
you've had, the
either
guests that
a
you've
good or a bad one, most are bad.
absolutely,
And
and the guests you've had up
that's
till
really
now have been
enjoyable.
powerful.
Yeah. So that's the kind of things that we do.
Okay. Well, is there any other place where people can get a hold of you, Kevin, as they listen to your podcasts and things,
Of
or if they want to be a
course.
guest
I mean,
on your podcast?
yeah, I've got KevinOrmond.com. All you got to do is spell my name right. If you could spell my name, I can't hide from you. I am the only person on the planet with those two names. There are other Kevins with a C. There are other Ormonds, but I am the only Kevin Ormond spelled that way on the planet. If you Google my name, you got to go 10 pages to find somebody that's not me. Seriously, try it. And so basically, Kevin, Cevin, Ormond is just like Osmond, if you know Donnie and Marie, except that it is an R instead of an S. So ORMOND. So Kevin Ormond, and you can find me there. You can find me at kevinormond.com. Go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn, go to all these places, and just type in my name and I'll come up.
You bet. Well, Kevin, thank you for being on here today. Again, our goal here is to introduce all of our podcasters, our show hosts. Sure. And Kevin is on our station on the Resilience Talk Network. And so you can find us at resiliencetalknetwork.com, resiliencetalknetwork.com, where you can hear Kevin's shows and many other. And so again, Kevin Ormond, it's Conversations with Kevin with a C. Leadership Principles for the 21st Century. And again, we're glad to have you here, Kevin. And please tune in. You're going to learn a lot of wonderful things from a lot of wonderful people. Thank you so much for listening to the Resilience Talk Network.
Thank you. And thanks to you, Brad, and thanks to all the listeners.